Amidst dense vegetation are hidden worlds with complex creatures and more hidden artifacts and civilizations than anywhere else in the world combined. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be going over 5 mysterious jungle discoveries that cannot be explained and what they could mean for the residents living in the area. The forgotten town of Boston, Ohio. Many people have already forgotten about the town of Boston, Ohio, and what terrible tragedy has occurred in the small town many decades ago. For those that are unaware of the circumstances surrounding the town, the explanation seems all the more strange. Back in 1974, a new executive order was passed by the US President that specified the entire town of Boston, Ohio was to no longer exist and instead be converted into that of a national park. This led the National Park Superintendent, William Birdsall, to introduce himself to the community during that year, which would later see him as the prime antagonist of the town. After many legal loopholes were broken and the town was secured by the government, with the townspeople forced to leave or made homeless, the military stepped in and finished the job by burning every last standing building to the ground. Interestingly enough, William Birdsall was not a name in any previous reports or seems to have a record of any kind before this public appearance, and at the end of the formation of the national park, on the day he was fired as a civil servant, he experienced a sudden massive heart attack and died in his office as he was holding the box to put his belongings into. This led to a wide variety of conspiracy theories surrounding the event, believing the town to be at the centre of strange reports that caused the government to completely burn down the town and allow the forest grow back over the region. Despite many having originally claimed the area would be turned into a public national park for people, to this day it is seen as a federal crime to be trespassing anywhere near the area that can allow the government to shoot on sight if anyone approaches the designated national park location. This provides overwhelming proof that the logic and original motivation from the United States federal government was an outright lie, and the true underlying causes for this occurrence is completely unknown. Olmec colossal heads are filled with mystery. In case you didn't know, the Olmec are known as the first major civilization in Mexico. They appeared around 1600 BCE. They were actually the first people who figured out how to turn latex of the rubber tree into something that can be easily shaped. The Olmec culture had a huge influence on many later civilizations, Maya, for example. This society was known for their massive stone heads that they carved from basalt, a volcanic rock. There are not many things that have been written about Olmec, but from the archaeological evidence we have today, it seems that they were not very economically confined. The Olmec were defined by their specific art style. They were able to craft with various materials such as clay, basalt, jade, and even greenstone. Most of their art was made out of green-coloured minerals. So much of the art found is only based on nature. The best pieces of art they have left behind are surely those colossal, massive heads. There are 17 massive stones that represent human heads. Made out of large basalt boulders, all these heads date back to at least 900 BCE. The heads that have been found portray mature Olmec men, all of them having distinctive features of their civilization: flat noses, slightly crossed eyes, and fleshy cheeks. Surprisingly, not a single head is the same as another. Each of the heads has their own unique headdress, represented specific individuals. It is believed the heads are representing the portraits of powerful individuals of the Olmec civilization, but the methods and logic behind how it was all transported and carved stays a complete mystery. The Sentinelese Tribe. Located in the Bay of Bengal is the North Sentinel Island, a strange land seemingly unaged by time. Many research scientists and evolutionary theorists believe the area to house species long since considered extinct and to be a completely isolated location with a vast amount of information to teach us regarding prehistoric conditions. This is complicated, however, by the odd circumstance created by the island, or rather its inhabitants. Oddly enough, the North Sentinel Island is inhabited by an isolated generation of human beings that appear to not have even left the Stone Age and are believed to have inhabited the region for more than 60,000 years, 50,000 years older than the first human civilizations to have been formed. Given their hostilities against other individuals who attempt to inhabit or visit the region, the North Sentinelese people have remained the most isolated humans in the history of the world, almost as if their island is a pocket into the distant past unchanged by time, technology, or innovation. Despite the tribe's primitive conditions, it has been discovered that the North Sentinelese are incredibly healthy and suffer from no genetic defects of any kind, as well as being of much better health and condition compared to the average world population. This has been completely unexplainable as to modern research, as small tribes from other areas found around the world usually begin to suffer from genetic defects caused by inbreeding that lead to deteriorating factors in regards to health and longevity. This mystery was only made all the more strange when back in 2004, a large tsunami had struck the island that many believed had completely wiped out the Sentinelese people. Not only did the Sentinelese people survive, but despite a small population surviving, still no genetic defects were shown after repopulation and growing numbers from the small families. This could very well mean that unlike humans of the modern day, the Sentinelese people have only dominant traits that do not allow the recessive alleles to surface that can cause birth defects or genetic defects of any kind, making them stronger, healthier, and more capable to survive much harsher conditions than modern humans. This could also help to explain why the Homo sapiens species came from a theoretical Adam and Eve, as recessive negative traits had not existed yet in the genus, essentially meaning that early humans could have been far more advanced than humans of the modern era in nearly all regards. The Amazon Rainforest Aliens. Surprisingly, reports of alien sightings and strange orbs of light have been often claimed in certain areas of the Amazon rainforest that have been referred to as alien hotspots by certain extraterrestrial investigation communities and UFO researchers. One of these hotspots, located near the Manaus region of the Amazon, was known for having the highest frequency of strange sightings and extraterrestrial encounters. This proved to be the case when two British tourists were visiting the region and caught high-definition footage of an alien presence. According to Michael Cohen, a prominent paranormal and extraterrestrial investigator of whom first received the footage, the two tourists were spending time with a local family and preparing their camera to take high-quality pictures of the family to add to their photo album. As they turned the camera on, there was a sudden flash of light as they noticed a strange figure standing in the background. After reviewing the footage, a still image was taken that showed overwhelming proof of a grey alien arching its back and standing in the forest behind them as an orb of light followed closely behind. Many skeptics were quick to dismiss the footage as a hoax after they deemed the quality to be so defined and high detail that the image had to have been completely faked to get such a good quality picture. A rather ridiculous explanation for such overwhelmingly high quality evidence of the alien presence. Oddly enough, a few weeks after the event, the Brazilian government declassified a wide variety of secret high-level files regarding extraterrestrial investigation made by the government and a team of secret investigators. These files detailed a military operation known as Operation Prato, that detailed evidence of the Brazilian government sending out military units to monitor and confirm an alien presence in the Manaus region of the Amazon rainforest, at the exact spot that the footage was taken by the British tourists only a few weeks prior to the declassification of the files. Though the Brazilian government had often denied the existence of Operation Prato, it appears that after the footage went public, the government was unable to maintain the secret and declassified several files regarding the matter, helping to solidify the evidence as official and not that of a hoax or edited picture. the origin of the prehistoric stone spheres of Costa Rica. The stone balls were first referenced back in 1971 by famed ancient alien author Erich von Däniken in his cult classic novel known as The Chariots of the Gods, though the discovery of these stone spheres go as far back as the 1940s. Located and scattered throughout the jungles of Costa Rica, these spheres were originally found in the delta of the Teraba River, but followed as far away north as the Estrella Valley and as far south as the mouth of the Coto Colorado River. This appears to be no easy feat, however, as the objects were massive, most of them being as large as roughly 2 meters in diameter and weighing more than 16 tons. In ancient Costa Rican myth, as well as evidence found by archaeologists, it was originally believed that these spheres served a purpose by matching constellations in the sky, and that, according to these myths, represented the constellation of which the gods had arrived from. The ancient astronaut community believed that the spheres could have served as a primitive star map, depicting a very specific constellation as told by the ancient gods in an attempt to show us their home planet when the time was right. Unfortunately, the Costa Rican stone spheres, when discovered, were either moved from their original location by archaeologists and researchers or blown up by treasure seekers believing the stone spheres to contain ancient artifacts, priceless antiques, or gold treasures that could be sold on the black market. It is due to this that the true nature and archaeological context of the scattered spheres is completely lost for the foreseeable future, and though there may be a handful of stones still in their original location, hundreds of others have been completely destroyed, removed, or washed away by flooding in the region altogether. Even though the surviving stones could still prove to be useful regarding archaeological context and discovery, for some strange reason, the discovery has gone wildly unnoticed and completely ignored since its original finding back in the 1940s.